Hi Skate Pals! I'm Elizabeth from Geek Girl Skates, and in this video I just want to have a little heart-to-heart with you all. Now, learning to roller skate, no matter your level or the type of skating that you do, can be really hard. And you might be just starting out on your skate journey, or you might even be a ways in, but I think we can all share in the frustration that comes with learning something new. So, in this video, I want to share a little insight into the things that have helped me as a skater, especially when it comes to learning new tricks and developing new skate skills. I'm going to break this down into 5 main tips, and I'm going to end with a few final words of wisdom, so be sure to watch all the way to the end. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. And if you really like this video, you can always check out my Redbubble shop. And I've got a link down below, and you can find some really cool Geek Girl Skate merchandise. I myself have bought a Geek Girl Skate sticker, and I've put it on my helmet, and I think it looks rather cool. But if that's not your thing, there's a link down below to support me another way by buying me a coffee to say thank you. Okay, so this is Gizmo. She's decided to join us for recording this video. So I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone, but tip number 1 is you actually have to practice. And I'm not gonna say you have to practice 3 times a week or even every day, because you know, the number of times you practice completely depends on you and your circumstances. But what I am going to say is you gotta do it. And you're not going to get better if you don't actually take the time to work on things. And I fall into this habit as well. Like, I want to be able to do tricks like ho-hos, and to do that I really need to work on my handstands off skates. And I can totally do this at home, but I keep forgetting to do it. But I know I'm not actually going to get better unless I actually take the time to practice. Now, if you're practicing as much as you can, but you're still feeling really frustrated, then think about what you're practicing. And what I mean by this is I often fall into the trap of practicing, the tricks that I feel really good about, that I'm confident with, and I'll practice those over and over. But what that means is I'm not taking the time to learn new tricks or to work on the ones that I can't do. But if I go in with a plan and say, I'm going to practice these, couple of tricks today, and I'm really going to work on those, I know that I'll have better success, and I'll probably make a lot of improvements on those tricks. That said, be careful you're also not going the other way and practicing too many things, because, well, when I do that, it just makes me feel really down, because I'm like, there's all these tricks that I can't do, and I'm not a very good skater because there's these things that I can't do, where I'm actually forgetting that there's quite a few things that I can do, and I am a good skater. So I think it's partly about the mindset of your practice sessions. But remember that not every session has to be like a dedicated structure, and I'm gonna practice these 3 things and I'm not gonna actually practice anything else, because you need to take the time to skate. And whether it's just skating along a path and going for a lovely little skate outdoors, or if you're at the skate park and you're practicing the tricks that you can do, and you're practicing your lines and just having a good time. It doesn't all have to be structured practice. You really need to make sure that you're taking the time to have fun with your skating as well. Tip number 2 is to actually skate with other people. And I think it's really helpful if your skate group has a mixture of different skate abilities. These people are going to be your best source of advice, and they can watch you skate and hopefully give you some feedback on what you're doing that's really awesome and where you can make some improvements. It's also really fun to work on the same trick with other people, because you can look at what works and what doesn't work, and you can cheer each other's successes and laugh at each other's failures. If I'm skating at the skate park, then I really love skating with people that are more advanced than me. Chances are they'll be able to figure out lines that would have taken me forever to figure out. Plus, I think so much from learning comes from actually just watching and observing other people skate. which does lead me on to tip number 3. But before we get to that, I do want to mention that as wonderful as the social side of skating actually is, it's really important to take some time to do some solo practice. Personally, I learn best from drilling things over and over until it's like second nature. I think this really helps me with consistency. But if I'm worried about falling in front of other people, then I'm less likely to actually focus my practice. Alright, tip number 3, which is to watch videos of other skaters. I think this is really important. And it's actually really helpful, and it doesn't matter whether they're on TikTok or Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Find the videos where the skaters are doing really cool things that you want to be able to do and save them to watch later. And this means that you can watch them over and over, and you can even watch them while you're practicing. And what you want to look for is how their body is standing. How does the skill or trick begin? How does it end? What's their stance like? What's the weight look like? Although might be hard to tell, but you want to sort of use the video to try and figure out how they're actually pulling off these skills or tricks. And I've put some links below in the description for some skaters that I find to be particularly inspiring, but feel free to add your own favorite skaters to the comment section. But, and this is the really important part, make sure you're only using these videos for inspiration and that you're not comparing your skate journey with that of other skaters. This is a really dangerous trap to fall into, especially if you don't know that skater personally. Remember, these videos are only showing a short portion of their skate time. You're not seeing all the fails and bails that they did to get from, the time when they started to learn that skill or trick to the time that they, were bossing that trick on Instagram or whatever. Everyone's skate journey is different and everyone's going to be good at different skills or tricks, so it's important that you brace your own journey. Watching videos of other skaters is a really great way to learn how to roller skate, but tip number 4 is to actually film yourself. And you can, literally see yourself progress from, day 1 of skating to day 10 of skating and day 1852. You can literally see yourself getting better over this time span. So it's really important to watch back over your footage because you can see that progression and see that change. And filming yourself while you're skating is a really great way for troubleshooting if you're having an issue with a particular skill or a trick, because, the camera doesn't actually lie. So if you fall over and you're like, why did I fall over? And you watch back over your footage and you're like, oh yeah, my knees weren't bent. And then, next time, that means when you try that trick, just bend your knees more than you think you need to. And this brings me to my final tip, which is tip number 5. And this is to actually change your approach if what you're doing isn't actually working. And I mean this in both a mental sense as well as a physical sense. So if you find yourself saying things like, I can't do this, or I can't stop when I skate, or I can't stall on the coping, then try turning these statements around into more positive statements like, I can stop when I skate by doing X, but I'm learning how to stop when I do Y. Or, I can drop in on the transition and pump the ramp, but I'm working on building my confidence so that I can stall on the coping. And I know it sounds a bit silly, but I think that by changing our language and the way we talk about skating, it can actually make us be a happier skater and more confident in our abilities. On the other hand, if you're doing all these things and you're still just getting massively frustrated that you can't learn the trick that you're trying to do, then you might need to change your approach in the physical sense. So what you can do is actually try a similar but different trick, and this will help you develop that muscle memory. So, if you were trying to drop in on the transition, but you were just getting really nervous standing on the deck, or maybe you did the drop in, but it wasn't a very good one, and you might have fallen forwards or backwards, but whatever, it didn't work out. What I would suggest you do is to practice that drop-in motion and that process by standing at the top of a flat bank and doing the drop-in from there. And this actually builds up your muscle memory, because if you can do it there, then you can probably do it on the transition. If you've watched this far, don't worry, we're nearly at the end, but I do have one more bonus tip that I want to give to you. And that is, it is okay to fall, and it is okay to fail. A lot of skaters, especially beginners, seem to get really upset when they fall. But really, this is all part of the process, and it's not just part of the process of learning, but it's part of roller skating. It doesn't even matter how much experience you have with skating, you're still gonna fall. You could have bossed that trick like a million times, but randomly, you'll just fall. Or there's that random rock in your way and you're gonna trip over and you will fall. Those rocks are vicious. It's part of the process of learning, but it's also part of roller skating. So you just need to learn to accept that falling is going to happen. Well, that's all of my tips on how to overcome frustration when you're learning to roller skate. I really hope that they help you to stay motivated while you're learning. I also sometimes get really frustrated when I'm skating, but it's what you do with that frustration and not let it get the better of you. If you have any other essential tips, go ahead and put them in the comment section below, because I'm sure everyone else would really like to see them. If you want to help support this channel, check out the links in the description. You can either buy me a coffee or find my Redbubble shop. That's all for now, and keep roller skating.